Welcome aboard, everyone, to another Nightlight Productions presentation of Inside the Huddle. We're joined with Luther High School head football coach Matt Schiebel for a preview of the 2017 football season and Game 1 versus Blair Taylor. Matt, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Brad.
And best wishes on another great season that's in front of you.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit, get right to it, and let's talk a little bit about our team, and let's start by doing a quick review of last year. 4-5 in your first year at the helm of the Luther High School Knights. One game, some would say, just a couple plays away from playoffs. What a great season you guys had, building school pride, team pride. What a lot of fun. What do you have in store for us this year?
Well, we want to use last year's season as our springboard for this year. Got a lot of good guys coming back, key roles, fullback, quarterback, some offensive line, defensive linemen. So we'll just continue to grow.
We'll get to that as we continue on with our show today, as we speak about some of those leaders that are here today. But let's talk about the Knight mindset coming into the season. A lot of hopes and dreams, of course, in a fresh year. What kind of theme are you guys running under this year, and how are the kids buying into that?
Well, this year we are powered by one. Obviously, one Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is what gives us the power and our strength to do everything. And then each week, we're going to focus on one something. Week 1 was one Lord. Last week, one team. This week, it's going to be one goal.
I like the fact that you brought up goals, because that's where I was going next. We like to measure things in a tangible way. We measure things with wins and losses. We measure things with statistics. What are some tangible goals that the Luther Knights for 2017 have set apart for us?
I think the main goal that we have is to make the playoffs. And that's going to be our goal each and every year with this program. To achieve that goal, there's smaller goals that we can set for games. One that we always do is 0 turnovers, less than 5 penalties against us. 1 special teams or defensive touchdown. You know, those are the smaller goals that will help us achieve the main goal.
Very good. What division will Luther be playing in this year?
We'll be Division 6.
And what kind of enrollment is that for all the teams that are in Division 6?
236 is what we have, so low 200s.
And as you look at Division 6 and how the WIA playoffs are building and the potential teams that are in D6, give me 2 or 3 teams off the top of your head that Luther's going to have to really watch out for in that division.
Darlington, I think they're year in and year out up there. Whitehall, we don't have a lot of Division 6 in this area per se. Fond du Lac, St. Mary Springs has another good team again this year as well.
We're joined by Matt Schiebel, head football coach of the Luther High School Knights. 4-5 campaign last year, missing out on the playoffs by just a hair. This year, the greatest challenge will be fill in the blank.
Depth.
How many players do we have out this year?
We have 41, possibly 42 players this year that's 12th through 9th grade. Varsity team is going to have upwards of 28, 29, counting the sophomores, the juniors, and the seniors. But with only 3 juniors, we're going to be relying heavily on those sophomores.
You just had a chance to experience depth a little bit this past weekend at our scrimmage, where we brought in a number of teams. And if we're playing fill in the blank again today, if you could come up with one word that would describe your entire Saturday scrimmage, it would be...
satisfying.
Very good. Good to hear. You mentioned the depth situation. Let's move on very quickly and take a quick peek at our team across the board. And let's start on the offensive side of things. Talk just a little bit about your quarterback. We have to replace a quarterback from last year in the great Sam Babnick, who made things look so easy. You and I both know that quarterback situation on your team, that's not an easy read. That's not an easy mesh. A lot of things that have to go right. Talk to us about who's going to take the shoes of Sam Babnick.
Zach Willem right now is our starting quarterback, and he's had 3 years experience now running the Veer option. And I would say Sam was a great athlete. Zach is going to be a better quarterback. Zach does a fantastic job reading the defensive end and reading the defensive linemen, figuring out when to give, when to pull, when to pitch. So Zach will be just fine.
There's a few times last year he had opportunity to get into the game, but that experience is just so valuable. Do you think there'll be a large learning curve for him as the season progresses, as he gains more experience reading ends and so forth?
Yep, Zach is a smart kid, so the more he plays, the better he's going to get, and the more he's up to game speed, the better he'll be as well.
If I were to put a percentage on this, and I'll get to that with Blair Taylor in a second, because they're probably high 80s, 90s as far as the percentage they want to run the ball, what percentage of the time does Matt Schiebel and the LHS Knights want to run the ball?
I would say it's pretty close to the same.
Let's move on then. That leads us perfectly to the skilled position players, and it all starts and ends with Noah Motzke, doesn't it?
That's true.
Talk to us a little bit about your running back.
Noah is just an absolute stud. He's a kid that's put in so much time, so much effort to get to this point as his senior year is getting underway. He is the focal point of our offense.
We talk a lot about senioritis, and this is a kid who's a three-sport star athlete. He's a great, great young man, and he just wants to win, and I think that could be contagious on your team as well.
I agree. Him and Zach are really good friends. They're going to continue to feed off of each other and hope that transfers over to the rest of the team.
Tell me two other things. What else do you have for ball carriers? And then tell us a little bit about your receiving core too.
We've got some speed on the outside, on our wing players with Josh Miller, Ben Coots, Ben Riley, Emery Bias. So solid 4 athletes there that are going to get the ball on pitches and then also be wide receivers there. And then Alex Kish and Zach Wendt on the outside. They'll be contributing quite a bit there as well. And don't close your eyes on Brandon Stadler.
Any other ball carriers?
Eric Rogers
Okay.
will be up as a second string fullback with Ethan Deem and Josh Klavitter as backing up Noah Motzke.
Love to hear some of those first-year players. That's kind of an exciting thing. Let's talk about the line very briefly. It all really begins in the trenches. If we want to run the ball 85% of the time or whatever number it is, obviously we need to have a solid line. What do you have coming for our starting unit this year?
We've got 2 returning starters from last year's offensive line in Alex Bolstead and Nick Koenig, so they are definitely going to be the anchors. Alec Peterson, another senior, is going to play center. Dinged up his thumb a little bit in the scrimmage, so he may have to move to guard. Bolstead can be center. But then Mitch Bass, stepping in as a sophomore, will be starting as our offensive guard on the left side. And there's a toss-up right now between Logan Gady and Matt Kilmer to see who gets that 5th spot.
This is Inside the Huddle with Coach Matt Schiebel as we're previewing the 2017 Luther High School night football season and game 1 with Blair Taylor. Hey, coaching staff, a little bit of continuity for you, and I believe that will lead to success. Jeff Comey comes back to help us out with the defense a little bit. What types of schemes will we see from the Luther Knights, and maybe highlight just a player or two before we move on?
Yep, our defense is going to be centered around our linebacking core. We got 3 linebackers on the field at all time, anchored there by Alex Bolstead, Noah Motzke, 2 seniors that you couldn't ask for better effort from those 2. And then change up the front just a little bit, but it's really going to start and end with our linebackers.
Special teams, very quickly. Noah Motzke's back, I'm assuming, to do some punting.
Yep.
What else do you have?
Well, he'll be one of the best punters in the La Crosse area. I wouldn't be surprised to see Noah's name on some awards lists at the end of the season with his punting. He's some fantastic kicker. Still working on hammering down the long snapper situation. That's a key one. We've got some return guys, though. Noah will do some returning. Ben Coots, good athlete, will be returning a little bit. Emery Bias back there as well, Ben Riley. So we'll try and use our speed and our skill guys as much as possible. Some misdirection, possible fakes.
Kickoffs and place kicking, who will handle all that?
Noah Motzke.
No, we'll do all
Yep.
of it this year?
Yep.
Good. All right, then let's wrap this up by taking a real quick look at Blair Taylor. That's your game 1 opponent. I can hardly believe it, but it is game week. And we have started our normal routine. Today is Monday of game week, and I noticed the kids aren't in this morning, but I'm guessing that you're starting to get them into their 3 o'clock preparation. And how does this all change now as you transition from summer into the first ball game Friday? There's no school yet Friday, but what an exciting time as the kids get to come in and see their team play for the first game.
Yep. I reminded the kids about that over the weekend, that we're done with camp. Now it's time for the regular season. So we get them in from 3 to 6 this whole week. Parents' Night is also this Friday, so that's gonna hopefully drum up a little bit more excitement and some fun, getting people here before school has even started, but we'll be ready to go.
Invading Luther High School in beautiful Knight Park on Friday night will be the Blair Taylor Wildcats. They're a Division VII program. They've had a little bit of a struggle the last 4 or 5 years. Luther's had their number for the last 5 years, playing pretty well against them. They come back though, and they come into this game, even though their campaign last year was not great, they only won a single game, they probably returned their very best player. Tell us a little bit about their situation, how much they love to run the ball too.
Yep, they've changed their offense up a little bit. They've gone more to a double tight, double wing, packing everybody in. Going to try and ride Waldera and Schley are their two best running backs. They've got solid linemen and they're aggressive. It's not this is not going to be an easy game for Luther at all. It's going to be a fight to the finish.
New quarterback for the Blair Taylor Wildcats this year. They threw the ball a total of 45 times last year in 9 games, 45 times. And Waldera, that you've already spoke about, was not only their leading rusher last year, he was also their leading receiver. He was also their leading tackler last year. And I would expect that we're going to see a lot out of him as well. What do you envision them to run defensively, and how will that match up with what we want to try and do as we attack them?
Yep, defensively, we saw at their scrimmage, they run a 4-man front with 4 linebackers, 3 D-backs. They may throw a 5th guy down on the line, depending on how much we are dominating that offensive line. But I expect to see a 4-man front with 4 linebackers, which feeds into our offense pretty well.
So let's play a little more fill in the blank for the game on Friday night. The greatest concern for the Luther Knights on Friday night against Blair Taylor is blank.
Depth and stamina. Depth and stamina.
You take a look at the Blair Taylor Wildcats, I'm guessing that's probably the same thing when you come off of a Division VII program with a small enrollment to begin with. Their numbers probably aren't that great. I found it noteworthy that they were doubled up in the second half last year in all of their games. So maybe the Luther High School Knights can take an advantage of that and put some serious points on the board. Matt, as we wrap up today's show, 2 keys for winning for Luther High School on Friday night. What are they?
Leadership and do what you're supposed to.
There's not a lot of love lost between the 2 schools, Blair Taylor and Luther High School. They've been going at each other for many, many years, and this is just another chapter that we're about to write on Friday night, where the Luther High School Knights, under the direction of Coach Matt Schiebel, open up play again here at beautiful Knight Park at Luther High School. We're looking forward to the beginning of a beautiful season. Matt, all the best to you and your team, and we look forward to a great night of football on Friday and a great season that's in front of you. Good luck, and God's blessings on all of it.
Thank you, Coach.
This has been Inside the Huddle with Coach Matt Schiebel. I'm Brad Schopper. We're looking forward to a great year. We'll see you Friday night at the park. Game time, 7 o'clock. We'll be on the air at 6:30. Until then, have a great week.